What's up, everybody? This is a PlayStation Lifestyle Underground podcast. We are an unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420 and Xbox Live as THNK4URSELF. And got two other guys with me today. You guys want to say what's up?
Yeah, sure.
Don't all go at once.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm Jordash7K. That's how you can find me on PSLS and on PSN. That's about it. I don't have an Xbox.
That's fine.
Nice.
I usually bring up the caboose. That's why I'm quiet until the very end. I'm CloudStrife768 on PSN and Nintendo Network. And if you find me, or if you're arguing with me on the comments and forums, the name is Brian Mashala.
Awesome. Lately, I've been playing pretty much just Hellblade. I finished it pretty much the day it came out because I started playing it at midnight the night before and stuff, and really, really liked it. Gonna play it again because the trophies to get the platinum is actually super easy. You basically have to get all of the rune glyphs that you can find around, and I just on my own found all of them but 5. So I'm gonna play it. Also, it really seems like the type of game that will be better on a second playthrough because you'll understand more and hopefully pick up extra details that you might not have in the first time. But other than that, still been playing Crysis 1. It's been a lot of fun, as it always is for me. Shadow Warrior still off and on. Resident Evil 5, as I started playing, I forget what game I finished last week. There was something I finished last week, I can't even remember. But, oh well. Other than that, on Vita, I've been playing actually a lot of Prop Hunt in Call of Duty 4 with remote play, and God of War Chains of Olympus still. So, that's it for me. What have you guys been playing?
Sure. This week I was sick, so I didn't play games too hard this week, but I did finish my platinum on my the 100% Doom playthrough, which was still great because it was Doom. I also played one of the arcade game series. I played the Miss Pac-Man and got that platinum, which hey, I heard a laugh. No, that was actually a game I had on the Sega Genesis way back in the day. So I didn't get it just for the trophy, but I enjoyed that. That only took 4 hours to finish. And I've been playing a lot of Downwell from PS Plus this week. That game is a lot of fun. Usually I don't go too crazy for the little roguelike games like that, but Downwell is really good. It's a lot of fun. I tried Just Cause 3. I didn't fall in love with it right away, so we'll see if I come back to it at the end of the month. Some of the graphics, how there's a lot of fade and pop in, that kind of bothered me, and I sort of liked the hookshot thing, but I also didn't love it. I'll come back to it later in the month and see if I would just be in a grump and not liking it. And then I did play on the computer a little bit. I just played a little bit of Hearthstone. I dabble with that from time to time. And that's it for me.
All right. Brian?
For me, I've been playing, of course, more Final Fantasy and Splatoon as well. I, quote-unquote finished Tekken 7 by platinuming it. I beat Danganronpa 1 out of the collection. Still have Danganronpa 2 to go. Some more Fortnite. Also a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 2 tossed in there. And on the 3DS, some Fire Emblem Fates. Thanks to an impromptu sleep purchase of an amiibo.
Alright. Well, our news story this week is the release of Hellblade. It's been, as far as I've seen, has been getting very good reviews, really good reviews, other than, of course, Jim Sterling, who shits on everything, but who cares about him. And a lot of people are really liking it. Also, Lawbreakers came out this week. It's supposedly been having some launch troubles and stuff, but I'm sure they'll iron that out in time. That's just usual. That happens a lot with online games. But, yeah, not a huge week as far as news goes. There was one other story, though. Brian, you want to take it away?
Oh, yeah. Supposedly the next firmware update for PlayStation 4, 5.0, some of the details and features were leaked. We don't really know if it's official in any way or, it's just someone out there bullshitting. But, it was enough to make the rounds on a lot of different websites and news.
Yeah.
So, it's probably a little more than just a simple rumor. Among some of the features leaked were the ability to follow any accounts instead of just registered accounts, which is neat, I guess, if you want to stalk someone without actually friending them, or you have 2,000 friends. Some more, like, master account features, some more notification changes, and probably most notably is on PS4 Pro, the ability to stream Twitch at 1080p at 60 frames. So that's actually probably pretty nice for people who stream exclusively on PS4.
Definitely. Yeah. It's definitely a cool thing. Because the PS4 Pro, I believe, can record at 1080p. It can do 4K screenshots, which is cool. But so it makes sense that they'll be able to do a little extra with the streaming. Because the PS4, I don't know if the Pro also uses it, but the regular PS4 has a backup little processor, and it has its own RAM chips which actually has as much RAM as the cell processors did on PS3, which is kind of funny to think about because it's just a little tiny side thing. But that is kind of limited. They're probably not going to do a patch like that for the regular PS4 because they've kind of have it maxed out as it is, and they're not going to take away resources from games on regular PS4. But the PS4 Pro, they probably have it working out some different way or something. So that's cool. Although, I'd be willing to bet that when you stream at 1080p 60 on Pro, it'll probably take away the ability to record gameplay, because that's what happens when you stream at 720p 60 on the regular PS4. So, wouldn't be surprised if it was that way for PS4 Pro. Oh, and remote play as well. If you do remote play at 60, it takes away the ability to record gameplay. But
plus, it's harder on your internet.
News. A little bit. It's actually not as huge of a difference as you'd think. At least on the regular PS4, I don't know how they'll do with the 1080, but they're still both under 3 megabit per second, which is actually pretty low. But what are you gonna do? I guess, right? But
I have a capture card, an external one, and you have the ability to set, frames and resolution and stuff like that. And 1080p at 60 frames is a minimum of 5 megabytes a second versus 720p at 3.5, I think, is the minimum.
That's weird.
So,
because mine, when I stream with Shadowplay, and I know on OBS as well, you can go as low as 1 megabit per second. It's just gonna look like crap.
Right.
But YouTube 1080p is basically 5, like you said.
Right.
For whatever reason, Shadowplay doesn't like to do it, even though I have the bandwidth. It's incredibly annoying. It doesn't even like to do it at 3, although my bandwidth is 6. It's up to 7, but I don't know. NVIDIA, you gotta fix your shit. But our topic this week is the idea of cheesing or doing other slightly, possibly, I don't know, immoral things in order to get trophies. Trying to game the system or trying to spam certain things in order to make it much more easy to get that certain trophy that might take quite a bit of grinding, or just a certain thing that normally wouldn't happen if you didn't know a way to exploit the system, kinda. and I've done it many times. I don't feel bad about it. Don't care. Like, like I think some trophies are like, I mean, yeah, sure, some people might do it the honest way for bragging rights, but some trophies are like a little more difficult than people really want to deal with, and like for me, The Last Guardian is definitely one of them. Like, I really wanted the platinum because that's like my favorite game, but there are some trophies in there that were just ridiculous. Like, as far like there was one that you had to speedrun the game in under 5 hours, and also do a full run without dying. And like one way to cheat that, the not dying thing, is to hit pause right as you're about to die. Like right before you fall all the way down. If you hit pause and then restart checkpoint, you don't die. But if you do, then you're screwed. Unless you go back to your game save, your save file that you hopefully backed up, and then you can just overwrite, get your progress back. And so literally when I was doing my speedrun, I did that. I was backing up like every half hour just to make sure I didn't like screw myself, you know what I mean? Luckily it went fine. The speed run had almost no issues with it. Like I actually did a very good time. I did it in just about 4 hours, not including the cutscenes, which was better than some of the guides I saw on YouTube. But like I did cheat kinda, just because there were a few deaths there where I didn't hit the start button quite fast enough to restart checkpoint, and so I just used the whole backup save method, which is a way to kind of cheat through things like that, as far as like speed runs and other stuff. Like if there's a mistake that happens and you want to erase it, that's a good way to take care of it, like because the game reverts to before you hit that, so something bad happens, you can fix it just like that. So you definitely could say I'm not going to be the person that has a problem with it. What do you guys think?
I am all for boosting. I'm like you. I don't care. I'm probably even worse. Like I encourage it. Yes, one of the most recent boosting things I did was for Marvel Ultimate Alliance. You have to play through 25, I'm using air quotes, levels together with 4 human players in order to get this trophy. I'm 30. I don't have 4 people over to my house ever anymore. So I had to try to find 4 people online. The matchmaking for Marvel Ultimate Alliance is terrible. It's not like drop in, drop out. You have to have like all 4 people in the lobby when you start. And then you get in the game. The levels aren't that short either. It would take several hours worth of play to get 25 levels with all 4 people. However, I managed to find 3 other people to play with. There was a PS community. I found some people through there, and we got together and we started in the game. I loaded up my save file. It was like in the middle, like I was just about done with Act 2 and about to jump into Act 3. And so I talked to whatever person to say, go to Act 3. And we did that. And we got like the first trophy pop, because there was also a trophy for play 1 level with 3 other humans, and the trophy popped right away. So we thought for a second. We said, hey, we got 1 level done in like 10 seconds. How about we just exit and restart and do that 25 times instead of even playing the game? So instead of doing like a 4-hour grind, I got lucky and managed to get it done in like, I don't know, it took like half an hour to do. And that was just, like there was no guide anywhere that I'd even seen that you could just cheat like that. So I got very lucky to cheat and do that. I had to boost in Killing Floor because it was impossible to win a versus game as humans. That was the worst. So I just had to get a friend and beat him one-on-one while he just like put the controller down for 10 minutes, because that was impossible. Let's see, for the Game of Thrones Telltale game, I didn't really like that one, but I did want the trophies. So while I was just, let's say I work from home, so I just had the TV on next to me and would sit down the controller for 20 to 30 minutes at a time until it forced me to walk from like one end of town to the other. And then I would do that, and then I finished the game in like 1 day of work, not doing that. And I know that's really skirting the rules, but it lets me do it, so I do it. And that's pretty much my only rule.
It's a good rule to have.
Yeah.
I personally have absolutely no problems boosting, exploiting anything like that. My only rule is I don't exploit to the detriment of others in online games. using, I don't know, like getting outside of the arena in certain, as an example, in like a first-person shooter and being able to kill everyone, but they can't target you or something like that because they can't see through walls, but you can. That sort of thing. I don't do that. Not that I played too many online games in the first place, but still, at that point, that's the only real line I draw when it comes to boosting for, personal gain without messing anyone over. I'm all for it. I did it within the last week on Tekken 7. I am not very good at fighting games. I was not going to go online and try to do a ranked match and win it, and win an online match and win a tournament and do all whatever else it had me to do, or do certain things in the game without cheesing a little bit. So I boosted the online trophies. Me and, I got together with someone on PlayStationTrophies.org. We just traded wins and got those trophies out of the way. And then when it came to getting a certain rank in some of the offline modes, I just spammed one attack over and over. That basically let me watch TV while I spam this attack, and I'd win instantly. So I had no problems doing that. I wouldn't have gotten some of the trophies otherwise. Like I said, I'm terrible at most fighting games. But I like Tekken. I wanted the platinum. I did it. I have no regrets.
You didn't just do it. You earned it. You earned those trophies.
I did. I did it. I put in the time. I put in the effort. I read up on some of these things to cheese my way through games. I got in touch with someone to boost online trophies. I didn't put in the same kind of work that a person casually playing the game would, but I still put in work.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if there's anyone out there that feels like you shouldn't do stuff like that. I suppose maybe there is. There might even be people that think that you shouldn't use guides or walkthroughs to do trophies, but I think generally they exist because most people don't give a shit. Now, what I think probably is a little bit immoral is maybe hacking the game to get trophies, actual hacking. Which I don't know. I don't know how much that happens, but back in the day, there was Game Shark and stuff like that, and those technically were kind of like hacking a game. That somebody else did it for you basically, and the codes were just pre-installed. But that's what it kind of was, and but it was kind of just ultra cheat codes. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I don't even know how I could possibly hack anything on a PlayStation 4. I'm computer illiterate at best. I don't even know how I do it. I know I guess it's possible. I don't know. But yeah, I think it kind of goes off what Brian said. How if you're doing something to the detriment of other people,
yes.
that's I guess that's where I draw the line to, if I had to draw a line. If you're outwardly screwing other people, it's practically griefing in an hour-long MOBA game, and that's the worst feeling in the world. So it's, if you're screwing over other people, don't do that. Screw over the computer all you want. I encourage that. That's great. Do that.
Yeah, I knew a guy who was doing that too. On PS3 with Black Ops 2, which is one of my favorite shooters, and I actually played it probably most on PS3. But he was just a YouTube troll that used to do funny videos, just messing with people or just letting people embarrass themselves by raging over the littlest thing. But then he started he learned how to hack, and then he started doing a little more, and started messing with people's profiles, resetting them to 0 to piss them off. Occasionally, if the person was a real asshole or saying racist stuff, he'd do it. Other stuff just changing his name to something funny, but also he used aimbots a lot, just to get people mad. And it's I always thought it was so wrong, and I told him that, but at the same time, the reactions were still funny, which was the whole point. So it's I feel that is totally wrong. But what I really don't understand is the people out there that do it just because they want to win. Like, I don't understand how that's fun. Like, people with lag switches, and you'll see it, like, because if they get host and they have a lag switch, some even have it built on their controller, and, like, you'll see it in their kill cam, your body gets frozen in place, and they just shoot you, kill you. No problem. Like, you know, like, and that's what a lag switch does if that person is the host. And, it's like, how is it even fun at that point? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, part of the game, the fun of games like that is like beating another person. That's like that's what you play for. I don't play to cheat to beat people. I play to beat them using my own wits. That would take all the fun out of a game for me. That sounds terrible.
If you want easy wins, just play against the boss or offline on easy mode. Like, if all you want to do is just win the whole time, then there is a place for that. But like the whole point of online is that you can get, you know, better and more realistic competition because you're playing against other real people. So it's just like silly to me that some people like cheat because they want their stats to be high, or I don't even know what it is, or like they just want to win, or you know what I mean? Because it's like it's if people don't have their mics on, they're not going to know that everyone's raging. They're not going to hear that reaction that might make them laugh if they're asshole trolls like me. But it's just I don't get it. Like, it's just not it would never be fun to me. Like, I mean, I think it's bullshit. I think you guys agree, but one thing I do like for trophy boosting, it reminds me of, is Killzone Shadowfall. You can actually set up your own servers and stuff, and they do count towards trophies, but you can set them up with all easy bots and basically boost on your own, which is a good thing because some of the trophies on that game are ridiculous, and I still haven't got them. But it's like, even then, it still takes quite a lot of time to get some of these things. So it's like, man, that's a game that basically lets you boost, but it's still not easy. Like, they went a little overboard with those ability trophies, and it's like, I love the game. I have more time put in that game than almost any other shooter that I've played. But yeah, it's like crazy. But
Killzone is a little ridiculous to begin with. Killzone 2 had a trophy for being in the top 5% globally.
That's crazy.
On the leaderboards.
Wow.
That's even more ridiculous. I mean, that's what sucks, because like the single player trophies of Shadowfall are actually very reasonable and very good. It's just much like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I still say is the best platinum I've ever earned, because you barely needed a guide. It mostly just did stuff that if you were like really enjoying the game that you might have done most of anyways, and you really only needed a guide to tell you one thing. And it's also something that if you did all the side quests, you wouldn't have needed the guide for. So it's like, I love the Horizon Zero Dawn Platinum, but yeah, no, Shadowfall is ridiculous. And like, there have been some crazy platinum trophies over the years, like as far as multiplayer stuff. Like, I mean, some had like, 10,000 kills and stuff like that. Like, and actually, I would rather Killzone Shadowfall had 30,000 kills as the multiplayer trophy than what they have now, because I could get that no problem. It's just like having to use abilities in classes I don't like using is what's bothering me. But yeah, I don't know. Like, if we want a trophy, why not find an easier way? I'd say that's ingenuity. That's just the smart thing to do. I mean, like, some people might do it the honest way or the hard way for pride or something, but I don't see any issue with it, and I think that it's actually the better way to do it. I think like people should be checking out trophy guides and stuff and using those to full advantage if you actually care about trophies.
I really like the word that you used, ingenuity, because even when you just play any regular game, a lot of times you'll figure out like that one tactic that works in every single battle, and you use that in every single battle for like 95% of the game. How many games have you done that in? Every one you can, right? So yeah, that's the same thing with trophies. You figure out what works for you to beat the game most easily. That's what every guide is for. Sometimes you'll find out that technique on your own. Sometimes you don't. But that's every game. That's what you do. It's just to what rules you make for yourself determine whether you use guides or not, or you care about trophies or not, or what you determine your own personal code for I guess exploiting a game.
It's almost like a game mechanic in and of itself, because like a lot of, maybe the enemies you'll face in certain games, there's a certain trick that you have to learn to beating them. Like Shadow of the Colossus, basically every single boss has a different trick to beating them. They're basically puzzles in themselves, and so you have to learn, you have to figure that out. And I feel like that using the same type of ingenuity to solve trophies is kind of a similar thing. So it's almost like a game within a game. The whole trophy hunt.
Personally, I use the trophy hunting. That's how I get in the extra mile out of a game that I already enjoy. It's very rare that I'll put in all that extra work and effort to get the platinum in a game that I don't like. That's not the point of trophies at all. That's how I get, like, Kingdom Hearts 1. That's one of my favorite games. And in order to, because I can do all the side bosses and extra bosses and level up all the way to 100, and then I can go, oh, there is a little more I can do to get that extra mile out of the game. And that's what I think trophies are for. Now, I've also gotten hooked on just getting as many trophies as possible. That's what I've been doing this year a lot. But that's what trophies are for, to get a little bit extra out of the game.
Yeah, and who cares how you do it, right? I mean, like, you don't have to try to figure everything out on your own, I don't think.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. It does amaze me, like, the people that do come up with those guides, because they often have them, like, ready the day a game comes out. That, to me, is just insane. I don't know how they do it. But
a lot of people dedicate a lot of time for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a job, but I'm sure there are plenty of streamers out there that play mostly for streaming, but to get trophies in games, and that's where you have the 1 million, 2 million gamer score types of people. And it's just it all comes down to a delegation of time. If you have the time to do that sort of thing and hunt for every trophy on your own, the quote-unquote normal way, then that's fine too. If you don't necessarily have the time and you need to use other methods like trophy guides, then that's fine too. I don't do it quite as much as I used to, but if I'm playing a game that I know I'm going to get, a lot out of, then I'll take my time. I may not necessarily look at a guide right away or, worry about trophies too much, and I'll get them down the line. The Kingdom Hearts games are similar to that. I've played them before. I don't really want to play it on super hard difficulty in 15 hours or less in Russian, that sort of thing. I could do that later if I want.
In Russian? That's a trophy?
Yes.
Play it
Be
from
Russian in Kingdom
language?
Hearts.
He made that up. That sounds made up.
No.
That would be pretty funny if they put that in the game where you have to switch the language. But like, what's the point? Because it's not like the game would be any more difficult, right? I suppose some it might, but I heard it how I wanted to, basically.
Anyways, sometimes I don't really have the time to dedicate to casually playing a game. Doom, for example, I've talked about before. I really enjoyed it, but I rented it, so I didn't want to spend too much time on it. I used a trophy guide from the first second I played it till I beat it and returned it. Because, the longer I took to play it, the more money it cost me, and the more Redbox got.
Yeah, let me jump in on Doom real quick, because I played through Doom the first time. I wanted the full experience. I didn't want to be watching a YouTube video with it. I knew I just knew I was going to love Doom when I played it. I was going to play through it once, and not have a video and just enjoy it for what it was, and I did. And then I knew I'll come back in a year and do the 100% thing and play through it again, and that's what I just did this week.
Nice.
I feel if you go into the game right away. Well, it was for any game. If you go in with a guide, watching the YouTube videos through, that is absolutely draining your game experience,
because
you're not immersing yourself into the game to enjoy it. If I had played through my first playthrough of Doom like that, I would have just pulled my hair out and put it down because it would have been less fun. I don't know how you did it, Brian, but doing that for any game that you haven't played before, I think you're kind of spoiling it for yourself doing that.
Depends on the game for me. Doom, I wasn't sure how I'd like. I heard good things. I wanted to play it. I didn't want to spend $60 to buy it. I also had the ability to play it because I think my wife and kid went on vacation, so I had an extra 4 days, 6 days to blow. And that's, what I did. I rented it, and every day was $3 extra, and the quicker I beat it, a game that I wasn't sure about, the, quicker I could return it, return it. And that kind of goes hand in hand with how I purchase games now anyways. If I'm super into a game, then I have the choice then to buy it digitally or physically, knowing that I enjoy it at my leisure that way. If I'm unsure about a game, I'll buy it physically, so I know I have an ability to get out and sell it and get something out of it. And that's kind of how I approached some of these games. Doom was one of them. Wolfenstein was another one, actually. I assumed I might like it. I was intrigued, but I didn't want to spend $60 on it. But I wanted to play it, so I rented it and kind of used a guide to help play the game a little more streamlined as I went through. And my justification for that is I wouldn't have played it otherwise. I don't think. Not that I didn't want to give it a chance, but just I wanted to get the most bang for my buck.
Yeah, price and money, we're all grown adults now. That's always going to be a big factor for all of us. I don't rent games just ever. Usually if I get something, I don't want to be forced to play it in a certain time, so I just wait till something is cheap, and then I just buy it then. Yeah. And then I have it for forever, because I'd hate to feel rushed to play any game. So I buy most things digitally, because I didn't realize till I started buying games digitally that I was secretly just super lazy, and I hate and I was like, and I got to take 30 seconds to change a disc. But also it's the
more annoying than you think.
Oh my goodness, yes. And also physical things can get damaged. Doom, which I hadn't played for a year, I basically put it in my PlayStation for a week back in December, and then I put it back in 2 weeks ago, and I'm just sitting in the case the whole time, and it was having trouble reading it to install it. I don't have that problem with all the hundreds of digital games that I have, and that's a big fear for me for any games I bought from GameStop in the past. If they don't work 100% correctly, I feel super ripped off, and that's just such a pain in the ass if that happens for any game. I don't like it. I avoid it at all costs.
I agree. Mostly because opening the cabinet to get to my games is always an invitation around my son for him to dive into it and try to get as many cases out as possible, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, that's why you had a kid, right? Just to clean up messes all the time.
Yeah. No, you have a kid expecting him to do nothing but make messes in his wake.
Huh.
But I'm also, like we were talking about before we started, not very patient. I'm okay with, being unsure about a game, but wanting to play it and then, renting it or buying it, expecting to maybe bring it back. And in those cases, that's when I go with the guides right away. I mean, sometimes I wait a little bit and go with the guides too. Sometimes, in the case of Tekken, I had it for a couple of weeks. I played some matches here and there. I wasn't sure if I'd platinum it. And then after playing it a little more, I realized how easy the platinum could be because I can cheese my way through some of it, like doing most of the difficult things that they expect you to earn over the course of many matches by doing it in practice mode by yourself. Even though you can't do it in verse mode, which is weird, but stuff like that, in the course of playing the game, I discovered it was a lot easier than I thought, so that's when I jumped in. But for Doom, that was just the best example of a game I wasn't sure about playing it on very limited time to go for the, platinum if I had the chance to.
What is the platinum that you are the most proud of achieving?
Last Guardian.
Snake Eater.
Oh, Snake Eater, that's a good one.
Mostly because I basically platinumed it on PS2, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. So just getting that, actual platinum for it was very, very rewarding.
Yeah. I thought about doing that for Metal Gear Solid 2 because I'd collected all the dog tags way back in the day, but then I realized I did not want to collect all the dog tags back in the day. Nope, no sir. Probably my favorite platinum is Final Fantasy X. I did all the grinding for that. That was fun.
Impressive.
On PSN profiles, I believe I was the 20th person to get the platinum on Deformers. I got that game, you could get it free through GameStop, and I played it and I liked it. And I said, I'm just going to get the platinum as quick as I could. And then I did.
Almost as good as Order 1886, huh?
Almost as good. Oh man, that Deformers was so broken. You just drop out of games all the time. And nobody played. So that also made it difficult to play games.
Yeah.
Which is
It was
which
really
is a good
broken.
thing. Which is a good thing that there exist communities to still get trophies after games are more or less dead.
Yeah.
Naturally.
I had sort of boosted it.
definitely makes
not
things a
sort
lot
of. It was
easier.
boosted with. I played with someone else from PSLS, and
PlayStation community
he had like several
feature is
controllers, so
actually
we
very
would
cool.
no matter what there would be 4 of us in one game, so that would help us get some experience much quicker because you get the different experience. There was 2 kinds of experience and prestige that you had to level up, and that all mattered on how many people were in the game. So being able to throw 4 people in guaranteed was a big deal. Really bad game.
How do you feel about boosting and cheesing your way through, maybe not even for trophies, but for other offline games? Some games you really, really enjoy. My example is, I'm super proud of myself for discovering this all on my own. Playing Kingdom Hearts 2 quite a bit recently. A long time ago, discovered that if you want to level up your drives, you can activate the drive mode, kill whatever Heartless or Nobodies you need to, and then before it runs out, if you find a save point and exit to the world map, it resets back to level 5 or your maximum, so you don't lose any of your drive mode, and you can just keep farming it over and over that way. I
hate to burst your bubble, but not that. I think most people figure that out on their own.
I know. I'm sure it's well known at this point, but I figured this out back when it was still on PS2, and I was super proud of myself, and I always found it like a little cheese method of, doing it that way.
And you had to do that, or else it would have taken just for freaking ever to level up all your drive forms. That was necessary.
It was I did it my second playthrough. The first time I actually did it the really shitty way, going to the Land of the Dragons and busting up those little fucking firework things over and over again.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Have you played through the Kingdom Hearts 2 HD yet on the PS4, or is this still your first playthrough?
On PS4, this is still my first playthrough. I did play the HD collection on PS3, though. I double dipped because there are new trophy lists.
Yes, yeah. Did you platinum 2 on the PS3?
No.
Yeah, I've done my playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 2, but I need to play through on critical mode and beat that, which is going to be a pain because I'm not that good at Kingdom Hearts.
No.
No.
Me neither. I enjoy the story, I enjoy the worlds. I don't understand how people can beat Sephiroth.
I could beat him in 1. I platinumed 1, but he's harder in 2. 2's a lot harder.
Yeah. And there's also the other little cheese method in Final Fantasy X that I don't exactly remember the steps, but you do something to a certain weapon and you get a ridiculous amount of experience points for the sphere grid.
Yeah. Say, I did it a month ago. I know exactly what it is.
I did it 10 odd years ago.
Yeah. There's one in like the monster creation thing. There's one of the enemies there that'll drop weapons that have overdrive to AP, triple overdrive, and then you would set your overdrive thing to stoic, which is when you take damage, and then you would fight the Don Tonberry once you've killed a bunch of enemies, and so you'd attack the Don Tonberry, and he would do like karma back to you, and you would do just like hundreds of thousands of damage to you, and it would convert that to AP. So after each battle, you would get like 99 sphere grid levels to go through.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stuff like that is almost necessary cheesing because it's the alternative is just mind-numbingly impossible.
Oh, yeah, like, and it still took a long time to do.
Yeah. Even then, stuff like that, it's almost part of the game to find ways around, the quote-unquote normal ways of doing the game. And I guess for a lot of these remasters, they are now trophies anyway, so it is basically the same as boosting to get, or, cheesing or boosting or whatever to get trophies. But back on PS2, you definitely had to boost to get that, that trophy equivalent. Yeah. Or else there was just no way to max out a sphere grid, and I still only ever did it with one person. I just couldn't do it with more than one.
You had to do it with all 7. Oh, it was terrible.
That sounds terrible.
It took almost 2 weeks.
That's why I only have about 50% completion on my Final Fantasy X. Now, have you ever boosted or exploited to the detriment of others in an online game? I know we all kind of said we don't like it, but have you ever done it?
I've never really been able to. The closest thing was like knowing that I was the host and knowing that if I hit pause, then hit triangle to go into like my friends list or like just like this different tabs on Black Ops 2 that show you like recent players, friends, and stuff like that. If you just scroll through that stuff, it'll cause lag for everyone and annoy the shit out of them. So it's like I wasn't actually, because I'm paused. Like I'm not, I am causing detriment, but I'm not gaining anything by it other than hearing them yell at me. Like, we know it's you. You still have 4 bars while we're all going down to 0, you asshole. Like, I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny. But, like, that was, like, the rare times I would get host. Like, like, I did that a couple times. Like, it wasn't... I didn't get host often back then because my connection sucked. And so it's like when I did, I had a little fun just because I knew that would happen. But no, I haven't been able to. Like, I don't know anyone with a lag switch or anything like that. I mean, maybe I've like purposely crashed people off the track on Gran Turismo because they made a really dirty pass on me. So I get revenge tenfold back in that case. Especially if they don't have damage on, like, then it's like there are no consequences, which is why I always say that online racing should have damage on all the time, so people actually learn the consequences of smashing someone. And it'll stop them real quick. Let me just put it that way. If they have to go to the pits and then possibly end their race or have to wait for it to get repaired, they learn to drive real quick when that happens.
See, I know that I drive like bumper cars, so I just don't ever play them online because I'll be that guy. But it won't be on purpose. It'll just be due to negligence.
Yeah, a lot of people do it on purpose, or like just because they know they can somewhat get away with it. They think it's okay. Like the one that always annoys me is the push pass. Like if someone comes in inside on you and just kind of pushes you to the side. That is not okay ever. It wouldn't be okay in real racing. And if like you're actually racing like in a league, that's the type of thing that would get them a big time penalty or just demoted a position or something, like, which has happened to me before. But it's something people do a lot, especially because like usually there's no damage caused by it, like cosmetic or mechanical, so people do it, like, they think it's okay. I mean, it's one thing to rub up against someone, but to literally get on the inside of someone that you're slower than, but then just push them so that they have to slow down to avoid going into the grass, and then you just get right past them. That is, like, a big no-no for me, and that's the point where I do the pit maneuver on them, and just smash into them. Either way, I get revenge when people do that, and that's the type of thing I'm talking about. But, like, yeah, otherwise, nah. Like, I don't really... Oh, maybe there's been a couple times where I played the NASCAR game and drove backwards or just smashed people just to hear their reactions and stuff. But, yeah.
I just remembered that way back in 1999 or whatever year Age of Empires 2 came out, I did cheat. My friend showed me how to get like a map happen. You could see the entire map when I played matches online and that. That was, I think that's the only time. I'm basically a hacker now. That was my hacking experience.
For me, the closest I ever went to that sort of thing is not exploiting. I've exploited a little bit, but not necessarily my fault. A long time ago, back in World of Warcraft, when they had a lot of world PvP, and I used to actually do that sort of thing, my connection at times was crappy, so I would lag all over the place, and it was always to my benefit. In large settings like that, World PvP means, tons of people fighting at the same time. So for me, it always ended up being me teleporting all over the place, and no one could really get a beat on me, and me just killing people because they couldn't get a beat on me. I know this because I actually got reported for it, and I had a GM talk to me and talk to me about it, and I said, "I'm sorry, I'm just lagging. I don't know what else to do." So that's basically the only time I kind of really cheated like that in an online game. Other than that, for me, it's playing a fighting game that I'm not familiar with or I don't necessarily like and just spamming easy moves. That's how I made my cousin rage quit quite a number of Mortal Kombat matches. And that's how I won my ranked match in Tekken. Or not a ranked match, my tournament match. That was a little more difficult to boost. So instead of doing that, I just, crossed my fingers that I would get matched with someone easy. And of course, I got matched with someone very easy, and I just spammed a couple moves that were easy to pull off and impossible to get out of, and I won. I felt a little bad, but...
You gotta do what you gotta do. We're just civilians. We're not savants at fighting games. You gotta take
a lot of people that play online on those are like always really, really good and do it all the time. So it's like for people like us, it's very difficult to win. Although I did do something similar to that to Shao Kahn in the Mortal Kombat 9 campaign. which, if you guys have played, know it's a pretty difficult fight when you're fighting as Raiden. Literally, 2 moves. That's all I used. It was the teleport and the leg sweep, over and over again, because when you're doing the leg sweep, you avoid a certain number of his moves, and the teleport is just like you wait for him to do a move, and then teleport behind him, then leg sweep, and just literally over and over again. So by the time he would turn around to come face me after I leg swept him, I'd already be behind him again. And like I literally just would do it nonstop. Like it was it was the easiest way to beat it, because I was trying to beat it honestly before, and it was just I couldn't do it. So I was like, screw this, I'm cheating here. Go to hell, Shao Kahn, douchebag.
Well, they fucking cheat anyways in those games.
Well, it's like they're so overpowered. It's like, what are you supposed to do, you know?
It wasn't 9 for me, but it was some Mortal Kombat where I had to cheat my way through Shao Kahn after like an hour of trying to beat him because he's a fucking asshole.
Well, he was in Mortal Kombat 2. I don't know what other... But, like, that was the first one he was in, and I mean, he was difficult, but not anywhere near as bad as Mortal Kombat 9. Like, I could still use the normal moves that I would use, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't to the point where I couldn't use any of those moves because he would just override every single thing you do, or just catch you and throw you and stuff like that, like this type of stuff that Kintaro would do as well. It wasn't that bad in Mortal Kombat, but like Mortal Kombat 9 was just unbelievably ridiculous, and like you pretty much had to not be there when he throws a move, which was impossible, unless you did what I did, which is spam the teleport and leg sweep. But like as far as using overpowered stuff though, I do it all the time. Like in shooters, don't care. I don't feel bad about it. Like some people complain, oh, you're using the most overpowered gun in the game. So if you don't like it, you use it too. We'll see who comes out on top. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I never felt bad about doing that. Like I'll use the FAL on Black Ops 2 or the FAMAS or AK-74 in Black Ops 1 all day. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, the fighting game that I do like to play that makes you feel good even though you're bad is Soul Calibur, because it makes you feel like you're doing good things.
I totally can agree. Although I was actually pretty good at Soul Calibur.
Yeah, I was decent for a civilian.
Tournament.
Not like very good, but I was better than the people I knew who played it.
My peak was Soul Calibur 3, even though my favorite was 2. On GameCube, so I could play the Link. If not Link, Sophitia.
I like Cervantes.
You can do a lot of fancy stuff in those games and feel like a badass without doing too much. That's why I love Soul Calibur games. That was actually why I got the itch to play Tekken, because I wanted a fighting game that wasn't Street Fighter. And I was missing Soul Calibur.
The last and only fighting game I have is I have Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And that's it. The last game before that was probably Soul Calibur 2.
No Smash Brothers on your Wii U?
No. I did play a lot of Melee. I did play a little bit competitively. But I'm not the best in the world, so I stopped.
I believe I won a Smash tournament in college. I don't remember which one it was, Melee or Brawl, but one of those. I think Melee. Again, small college, like 2,500 kids, so not the most impressive thing in the world, but it did feel my haze-induced partying for a weekend.
Nice.
But sometimes you just have to button mash. I don't know if that's cheesing your way through stuff, but
yeah.
I've lost in Soul Calibur to someone button mashing, and it's the most infuriating thing in the world.
Yeah.
It really does suck to be on the other end of that.
Yeah. Because you know you should be able to beat it, but you didn't.
in some cases you couldn't.
But
Have we looked at any of the games that are coming out next week? I think Agents of Mayhem comes out next Tuesday.
yep.
I did see that. And I'm not... I don't know how I feel about it. If it's Saints Row-like, I'm interested. But I'm probably not going to get it for a while.
I'm hoping it'll be on a decent sale around Black Friday, because I really enjoy the gameplay of the Saints Row games. So, and it's all single player, which is I'm all about that. So, yeah, but yeah, I don't ever buy games right away when they come out. So unfortunately, I won't get this right away. Sorry, I'm not supporting developers, but I will get it when it comes. I don't know, on a good holiday sale. It'll definitely be mine. I'm sure it'll be.
That's still supporting developers. Doesn't matter what price you pay, as long as you actually buy it. It's renting that's not supporting developers or pirating. Then they don't get anything. Really.
Or buying it used from GameStop.
That too, yeah. Yeah, used, renting, and piracy is when they don't get money, really, for it. But even if you pay $5, it's still, like, a lot better than the other options, so you're still supporting them.
Yeah, I've just seen people post about saying similar things like that on the board, like recently. I don't know if it was just a week or two ago, but someone was calling someone else on the boards for not supporting developers because they don't buy games right away.
Huh.
There are many ways to support
I was
developers.
saying it to somebody, but I wasn't saying that you have to buy it away. I was like, wait, as long as you want, pay whatever price you want. I was just like, but renting isn't cool because they're not getting 1 cent for that shit, basically.
I don't think it was you,
Wasn't,
Hugo,
no.
because
I
think
wouldn't
it was
say
someone
that you
else
have
who was
to
saying
buy it
something
right
that
away.
sounded dumb.
Like you don't have to. I mean, they're still going to make a good amount of money if you buy it on sale, because that's why they put it on sale, is because if they can sell X amount of copies at a lower price, it might be that much more than it normally would have sold, that it makes up for the lower price, you know what I mean? Which is why Steam sales kind of caught on when they did. Like, it's because they were finding that out, is that putting stuff at super low prices, so many people go out and buy it, that it's like they end up making what money, if not more, what they would have, they just left the price at normal. So, yeah, I think it works out. It's fine. Sales are fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember reading, I think Tim Schafer was talking about Psychonauts, and he said, like, we made way more money than we ever did putting our game on Humble Bundle than we did when the game initially came out.
That's crazy.
You know, all these games are, like, critically, like, they usually have good reviews, but, like, nobody buys them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of his games are like that. Oh, and also, speaking of game sales, in like I think it was the mid-year sale, thank you for recommending Strike Vector EX. That game is dope.
Yeah, it is dope. It's like, and actually, like, there's a community on PlayStation. You should join it, because, like, we're trying to get, like, matches together online, just because, like, it's going to be better as far as finding online, because that was actually a PlayStation Plus game for South America, I think.
Oh yeah, this month, yeah.
So that's good, but like, yeah, like there's been trouble finding matches, which is really the only downside of it. But like, yeah, people have been getting together, making events and stuff. I actually made one recently, but yeah, it's awesome game.
Oh, cool.
It was briefly free in North America.
Was?
I don't actually know if it still is or not, but I got it for free.
Nice.
As a PlayStation
I bought
Plus
it day
game.
one. It was actually only like $10, so that was like a year ago though.
Yeah, I grabbed it for $3.
Nice.
Great
yeah.
$3 purchase. My goodness.
Hell yeah! It's the I say it's the Rocket League of air combat.
Yeah, it's fast. It's good. You can control your ship really well.
Yep.
It's what you want
Very
in a game
easy
like
to pick
that.
up and play, but super fun and hard to master, just like Rocket League. But
Yeah.
yeah. I What do you guys think? Got anything else to add?
I think the silence said it all about 5 minutes ago.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think I'm done talking about all my trophy hunting. I'm tapped out.
No, we're not done. We will come back to trophies over and over again
Yeah.
Fantastic.
because we're fans around here.
The other day I said I had 25 or 26. I lied. I only have 23 platinums
That's
this year.
still more than me total, so it's all good.
I have
Yeah, I got
5
bit by
this
the
year.
bug. I got bit by the bug hard this year.
Nice.
Pretty much once I moved to my new place, I've just been trophying
Well, I
all the
will
time.
have Hellblade and Spec Ops: The Line platinum soon, so that'll be 24, I think. So that's good.
Yeah, I heard Hellblade was a
Wicked
pretty
easy.
easy platinum. Basically, all you needed to do was find those runes.
If
or
I
whatever
just
they were.
didn't miss
only
the
problem
5
with
that I
it-
missed, I would have got the platinum on my first run. I'm almost kind of glad that I didn't.
Yeah, I heard the only problem with getting it super quickly was that there was no chapter select.
Yep.
So you have to play through and get them all.
Which is fine. Like I said, I'm kind of
Yeah, I
glad.
mean, if it's a good game,
I'm
it's a
kind of
good
glad
game,
that I
so.
missed some because I do actually want to play it again because there's I feel like there's more that I can understand about what's going on now that I know more of how the developers saw the story and stuff. Because I watched the little feature they've actually put in the game. It's kind of like a behind the scenes. So most of the time they just talk about how they made it, but they also did kind of give some insight on what how they saw what's going on in the story, and it totally helped me understand it quite a bit more. Oh, there's still a few things that little up in the air on, which I hopefully will pick up in the second playthrough. I hope it's plus it's just an amazing experience. I hope it's all of Team Eco's games where it's they get better every time you play them, or there's just stuff you notice as you go along. There's a lot of movies like that too. So it's you guys know what I'm talking about. That whole better the second time, or you notice more, or it's you find different ways to enjoy something the more you play it, rather than just the first time you play it, it front to back, and subsequent playthroughs just to remind yourself rather than actually learn something new. And I feel like this will be that type of game. But that is it for us this week. Thanks for listening. We will talk to you next time. Peace out.